In the last year alone, more than £11 million has been lost to holiday scammers.
Someone who knows only too well just how advanced these scams can be is Marion Tyler, who thought she was on the phone to her travel company, but actually was speaking directly to scammers, leaving her £2,000 out of pocket.
Yeah, Marion and her daughter-in-law, Marie, join us now alongside our consumer editor, Alice Bigg. Good morning, Alice. Good morning, Marion Marie. Thank you for joining us.
Morning. Morning.
So, Marion, you were a victim of this holiday scam. Tell us what happened.
Well, I booked a holiday for myself, my daughter and her 2 children to go to Lanzarote in August. And I booked it online with LoveHolidays. And then that was the beginning of January. And then in the middle of January, I managed to save a few pounds. And I decided I would go on to LoveHolidays and ask them if I paid that off, where does it leave me with my next payment in February? So I Googled the number. I talked into my phone, as I always do, and I said, telephone number, LoveHolidays, and the number came up. And it even had the little logo, although it turned out it wasn't exactly the same. But I phoned up and I told them my name and I told them my reference number. And from that, the girl was able to tell me all about my holiday. She was able to tell me where I was going, when I was going, who was going, that I was a lead passenger, right down to, she said, oh, I see that you're going all-inclusive. That'll be great with you with the children. That'll take the pressure off.
So it sounded very legitimate. It sounded like you're actually speaking to LoveHolidays.
Yeah, I really thought I was because of that. And then she said, I have good news for you today. I can give you £500 off if you pay £2,000 today. So that's a lot of money, £500 off. So I did. And then the next day I went on and there was nothing paid off the holiday. So I then went into a state of complete panic and everything. And it all started from there. And then it got all very, very confusing because I then contacted the same number and they assured me, no. She said, I will actually transfer £1,000 over now to your holiday. And she said, I can actually transfer the whole amount over and then you pay it off. So I was then doubting, was it a scam? Was it not a scam? But anyway, they phoned me all that day about 14 times and then they WhatsApped me, but they were on WhatsApp and she was phoning me constantly, but I didn't pay any more money. And it turns out eventually, it's a long thing, but it turns out eventually what happened was they had done a charge back, and I never knew that was a thing. They were always going to, it wouldn't have mattered if they'd have paid the whole money off the holiday, they were always going to recharge it back.
Right. And it was Marie, you came in and helped your mum realise it was a scam, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it was getting really confusing and upsetting for Marion when she realised, and she keeps saying, oh, I feel really stupid. And I don't feel stupid because it's an easy mistake to make with the phone number side of things. And even if I think a lot of us would say, oh, if someone told me to transfer money, that would be an alarm bell for me. But even if you hadn't transferred the £2,000, what was really worrying was that every time Marion was in touch with the legitimate LoveHolidays company by going to the website and getting the right number, which unfortunately she hadn't done on that particular day, then what transpired every day was that they were actually hijacking her entire holiday. Every day, even after putting into place the measures that LoveHolidays recommended, which was change the email address, add a password to the account, every day they were still able to go in and make changes to her holiday, and we couldn't understand why. And it wasn't until I escalated things through their CEO office, through my other social media accounts, that I was able to get hold of someone, because the usual contacts, I wasn't getting anywhere. They basically, us on a call together, discovered that the reason that they were able to do that was because they're accessing a cached URL, which essentially means if you log in once on a particular device, you're not re-authenticated to get back in. So sorry if I'm being a bit too techie, but ultimately we're all used to this, right? You do 2-factor authentication all the time. You might get code, or so the way it works with not just LoveHolidays, most holiday providers, when you go in and you log into your account to manage your booking, certainly for the first time, you'll get sent an email, that's normally the route, with a link. You click that link and you access your holiday. But what was happening in this instance was, because the hackers got in the first time, it didn't matter that she changed her email or added a password, because they were accessing the same link. But one last thing I should just quickly say as well, that on the back of us finding all of this out, that when we spoke to the team about, you know, look, it's clear that the booking reference is the unique identifier here on the URL. Can we just change the booking? And they weren't able to do that until media got involved.
So let's just
it's
talk
incredibly
to
sophisticated. You can see.
let's talk to the viewers. Like, how can we stop this?
Incredibly complex. Okay, and it was a scam, and it was very, very deceptive. First of all, online, there are lots of companies mimicking other companies with a misspelling or a hyphen or just anything that is slightly different. And calling using your Google app will get you through to one of those companies if they've moved themselves up high enough. Now, LoveHolidays have said they're very sorry for the stress and inconvenience that Marion's experienced. She did call a number not associated with LoveHolidays. They worked hard to secure her booking to avoid a similar situation occurring. They're also paying extra for ads on Google to stop the scammers from placing ads above them with false contact details. So please be very careful who you are calling. There are mimics for those companies out there, and without knowing, you are really helping them by giving extra information. If the scammer is on the phone and they say, how do you spell your surname? How do you spell your mother's maiden name again? They don't know your mother's maiden name or your surname or your login thing. They're asking you to verify it, but actually what they're doing is getting the information from you. So A, look out for mimic companies. B, never, never, never leave the platform. When you're on these platforms, be it Airbnb, be it Google, be it wherever you are, LoveHolidays, the actual ABTA or ATOL registered company, don't leave the platform to talk on WhatsApp because you're verified and you're protected. Also, don't throw away all those payment protections. I know Marion was coerced into paying by bank transfer. Anything on a credit card or a debit card, even PayPal or through a website, you are protected. So all your safety nets go once you start throwing those things away. And that applies to everything, every holiday you are booking. And there's some really good scams out there at the moment. We haven't got time to go into all of them in detail, but the golden rules are stay on the site, choose an ABTA or an ATOL registered company, go on the ABTA website, the Association of British Travel Agents, or ATOL, stay on their websites, go onto those sites and find out where they're listed. Stick with payment protection, use your credit card, and just never, never, never leave the platform. And we'll go into some of the detailed scams another time on the AI scams, how to do Google reversing. There's a lot of money being, the average victim loses nearly £2,000. It's the second biggest scam to credit card fraud.
And it's not just being scammed out of money, it's places being double booked or reviews not being truthful as well.
It is. And people are, and it's a generational thing, Gen Z's much more susceptible to being influenced by social media and for ads that they see out there. And you've got to learn how to verify them, how to do a reverse image search, how to check all those reviews. I feel another item on this.
We should do it.
For sure.
Marion and Marie, thank you for coming on. Hopefully you can enjoy the holiday. I know you got your money back as a goodwill gesture, so we're pleased about that. But we really appreciate it.
Just a goodwill gesture, just quickly, we want to say a big thank you to AIB Bank because they actually worked really, really hard to get the money from the online bank. So thanks to them.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Marie. And do enjoy the holiday when you eventually get there.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.